Yes, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Next 90 with Nick. I am your host, Nick, and this is The Next 90 with Nick. By now, you should already know who we are and what we do. We are a nation, a small but mighty nation dedicated to leveling up our life 90 days at a time. And we have a man who is no stranger to the Next 90 Nation and or the listeners. You have heard his interview early on in our journey, and you've also heard me talk about him several times. It's my man, my brother, cancer survivor, cancer warrior, higherpower.net, Mr. Gary, the Gare Bear Higher Power.
My brother, thanks for having me. It's good to be back on the show.
Dude, so okay, all right. Let's just get right into the fucking thick of it.
Yeah.
December 22nd. So 2 days away. 2 days away. I'm getting the fucking chills.
Same here. This is actually going to be the first time that I'm going to talk about this openly, so this may get raw.
Yeah, well, no, I thought we talked about.
Well, I'm talking about like at this point, right now, where we're at in this moment of time. Go ahead.
No. So December 22nd, 2017. So it was a Friday. My wife Nicole was going in for the exact same procedure you were going in for. Mm-hmm. So Gary had some problems, saw some blood in his his wife saw some blood in his stool, and you go in for a procedure. My wife's having all these fucked up things happen, so she goes in for the same thing, which was a what do they call colonoscopy. Mm-hmm. She goes in early. You were like a little bit later than her. Mm-hmm. She comes out like, you know, we get it, all signs are clear, mm-hmm. but that wasn't the case for you.
Not that day. No, it was not.
No. So my phone rings and it's Gary and his wife, and he's like, "It's it." I'm like, "What do you mean it's it?" And he's like, "It's cancer, man. It's a C word." And I was like, "What? Mm-hmm. No fucking way." So bring me back to that moment.
Man, so it was pretty surreal. Like I got wheeled out of that room at the hospital, and we had a friend of ours that is very close to both Amy and I and our family that is the head nurse at this hospital, and she was in there for the procedure. And as I'm getting wheeled out, and I just went under for a little bit because the procedure's real quick. I'm opening my eyes and I see Amy crying and our friend holding her as they're walking by my bed, and I see my mom and she looks concerned and she's just staring at me, and she, they just kind of pat me and tell me to wait for the doctor to come in, and the nurse is telling me the same thing.
You already knew at that point, right?
At that point I just closed my eyes and I said a little prayer to myself, and I knew at that point. Man, so yeah, and then a few minutes later, it had to have been just probably seconds later, the doctor showed up next to my bed and said, "Yeah, we found a 10-centimeter tumor in your rectum and colon area." And at that point, we don't know where it extended to. So we just knew that we have a 10-centimeter tumor in there, and that's our battle right now. And then he suggested that we try and get a CAT scan done as soon as possible. And, at this time I had just quit my career and went all in with you, as a matter of fact, on our business venture together.
Yeah, so check this shit out. So just pause right there. Is that
sure.
So Gary and I have a company together. Actually, he founded it. It's called Make Eating Fun. You guys have heard me talk about it before. All, ironically enough, educating children on developing healthy eating habits so they can become ultimately healthy adults. Mm-hmm. And so we were dabbling around in it, and you and I had a conversation. I was like, dude, like, this can't be a fucking hobby. We need to go all in. Mm-hmm. I was like, "Are you ready to go all in?" And you're like, "Yep,
let's do it.
I'm ready to go all in."
Yeah.
And we picked a window that we were going to say, okay, like, this is it. We're going to, make sure that you and your family were taken care of, financially for that window, in the hopes that, the business would be self-sustaining, by the end of that window. Uh-huh. And it hadn't even been, 3 weeks?
No, I mean, yeah, just
because it was end of November. I think we started
middle of November,
right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
right?
Something like that. Yeah, man, it was. And then just weeks later, the diagnosis.
Literally quits his job.
Yeah,
like quits his career to go all in on his life's dream.
Yeah.
I support him in that. I go all in with him, and then 3 weeks later, I mean, we're both, but more importantly, you and your family are finding out that you have stage 4 colon and rectal cancer.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop there.
No, I didn't, because then he was telling me that I need to get that CT scan, and I was reverted back to that conversation about the business there, because I had just foregone my insurance, and the insurance that I got wasn't covering me. So we were paying all cash to get these tests done, but hey, we got to get it done.
Yeah.
So we're like, screw it, let's do it right now. And so they actually, it was late.
That same day?
That same day, they actually had the X-ray technician and some other doctor there that's able to read it just happened to be there that day. They opened up the CT room just for me. The hospital was empty at this point. And I went in there for my CT scan. And so me and the family, we're accepting it for what it is. Everybody's kind of torn up. We know that we're up against this one tumor.
Right.
But now we're
hoping that's the worst of it.
Yeah, and now so we're waiting at dinner because we're all hungry.
And you went and got Mexican food. I remember.
Mexican food and a nice tall beer, bro. Big tall beer, And so I'm sitting there and anticipating this call to find out if there's anything else going on. And I can remember, and I could picture it, and I can smell the smells and be in that moment. And I took the call and walked outside, and it's all a glass window, and you could picture, like, we're in the studio here and there's a glass window, and imagine in that room, like, you're just watching your family.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that movie feeling, right?
Yeah,
like
you're
the
almost
family's
like an
all
out of body experience.
Right. And I'm on the phone listening to the doctor saying that I've got stage 4 cancer.
Fuck. That
there's multiple spots in my liver, as well as the one in my rectum, and that there's also all kinds of lymph nodes affected. So
it traveled from your colon into your rectum, and then into your lymph nodes, and now into your liver.
Correct. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and come to find out, the main tumor actually was going outside of the wall of that rectum area, and it was like that. So it tells us that it had been growing for quite some time. But so I'm sitting there and just taking this call, and the doctor that's on the phone with me says, Gary, if I just want you to know that it's a very serious thing, and if it was in any other organ other than the liver, I'd probably say you got about 6 months to live. But it's in the liver, and you got a fighting chance. And
Did he give you any type of prognosis on, like, hey, 50-50 shot, 20-80?
Not at that time. This was a doctor that was there that's like a surgeon, oncologist, general oncologist. So she can read and work with the radiology team. So she just was giving me some information. At that point, I had to take that and figure out what the game plan was.
Dude, I'll never forget, because actually you texted me. You couldn't even call me. It's the C word in the long text, and then that night was my company Christmas party for Media Mix, and Nicole didn't go because she just didn't feel good. And what was good news for us was it wasn't cancer, right? But it was inconclusive, and so I got the weight of, my wife and what she's dealing with, and then obviously my friend, business partner, finding out cancer. Yeah. So I go to the Christmas party, and I think that's when you guys called me and said, hey, it's stage 4, it's fucking serious. And I remember being on the phone with you and Amy, and Amy's like, what the fuck are we gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm like, we're gonna fight.
Yeah.
We don't got a fucking option. We're gonna fight. That
was an emotional call. I remember that, and I can see the emotion in your face, and it's taking me back there too, because man, it's going down memory lane and remembering those feelings. Like, we were so scared, dude, and at that moment, it's this big ugly monster, and you're just like, what am I gonna do? What the fuck am I gonna do? Like, every rage and all these feelings are just taking over. And you hear about this shit, right?
Yeah. You hear about it happens to other people. My grandpa, he died of cancer, but I mean, not that it's any better, but the guy was fucking in his 80s, right? And so you're like, okay, like I get that, God, like I understand this.
We get old.
Yeah. Now, when I get this, 40 at that time, 41 or 40.
I was 41 at
41-year-old male.
42.
Like, that's just trying to live a good fucking life, being a good father, being a good husband. Like, this just doesn't make any fucking, just now pursuing his dreams. Like, why,
It's crazy, man, and the timing of everything. And I want to talk about this a little bit later too. But like, you talk about a guy that was wanting and working hard and trying to take care of a family. you know, at that time, you and I have been friends a long time, but we had just got reintroduced and started hanging out more just earlier in that year. Like it took about a year of us, to, you know, going back and forth and me hounding the shit out of you to get to a point where we finally locked arms.
Right.
But anyway, you brought me into the Warrior Network at that point too, and was showing me.
I think I brought you into Warrior like December 1st or just like it was.
It was like a year right before. It
was a year before.
It was a year before because I went to Warrior Con 1 and that was earlier in the year.
Yeah, you're right.
So you started talking about it, and you started kind of massaging me a little bit as far as like giving me the bits and pieces, and you hadn't gone through Trainer yet and all that stuff, but you took me to Warrior Con 1, and I'll tell you, man, like that. All the stuff that you've done for me financially to build this business and help us grow, what you've given to me as a man, the tools that I have now to show up, like the way that I live my life right now, I couldn't have done that without the establishment of what I had. And I've not even like fully all in and been going all in with the Warrior stuff, but I do like pay attention to the core four and the things and the daily grind and making sure that I'm hitting those daily singles so that I don't have to worry about trying to hit a home run.
Dude, and you talk about having to make daily deposits, you know.
Oh, bro.
I mean, this was a fucking roller coaster for, you know, for Amy, it was a roller coaster. For Aubrey, it was a roller coaster. For your mom, your sister, I mean, fucking you. You know, and like you having to muster up that strength every fucking day.
It's heavy, man. You know, and as a man, you try and like step up and like take care of everything, and you want to, and that's the way that I am. Like my nickname's the Gare Bear, right? Because I'm a big dude in stature, but I also have a big heart, and I love people so much, and I want to take care of everybody. And then all of a sudden, I'm the one that's got this disease that could kill me.
Yeah.
And I can't like.
Well, I remember you were trying to take on the fucking weight of the world, and you're trying to like, and I was like, dude, just fucking be like let people in, let them help, you know. And then I think, you know, like picking up your phone and you know, I always say pain shared is pain divided,
right?
You know,
I love that.
And you started doing that. I remember I'll never forget your first fucking chemo session. They put in the pump, and then you had to go to City Hope, and then, which is a fabulous facility, by the way.
Yes.
And then you had to take your little bag home with you, the little cancer bag. And I remember you laying in bed, no shirt, and you just turned on your camera. You turned on your camera, and you started talking, but you broke down, you know, and you just start crying, and that you're fucking scared. And you didn't want Aubrey to be scared. You don't want everybody else to be scared. And but you know, by you sharing that you were scared, I remember that the video got like, I don't even know how many thousands of
4,000 or 5,000
views,
at that time,
and the shares. I mean, people were sharing, and then the comments were just fucking like blowing up, you know, and people were rallying around you. And I think that like that was like your first push of like, okay, like I got support, I could do this, you know.
That was an amazing experience because I didn't know what to expect out of that. You know, I just knew that I wanted to be transparent in my fight because I know that there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily want to put their struggles out in life, but everybody struggles. And, you know, by me putting something out there, I've noticed over this journey, not only has it been so like beneficial for me because I've got all these people that are in my network reaching out and giving me love and support, but at the same time, like the journey and my my transparency has helped other people to reach out and say, hey, I've got this problem. What do you think? And we've had these conversations, and it's been so therapeutic for me. And then being able to share with other people, the pain shared is pain divided.
Yeah.
I use that a lot, bro. I mean, you said that, and I truly believe in it.
I mean, then you can feel it, you can see it, and like, you know, I literally just did a podcast about get shit done, right? Like people are like, how do you do what you do? I'm like, get shit done. You know, and I always tell them WIFT, you know what WIFT stands for.
Whatever the fuck it takes,
right? It's like, and so you got put into a corner. You got backed into a corner where you had no fucking choice but to get shit done and do whatever the fuck it took, you know? And it's like, I've talked about you in my podcast before because I'm like, look, I saw this. Like, I saw the journey, and I saw you showing up every fucking day.
Yeah.
Like, in some form or fashion. Maybe not always physically here, but majority of the time.
Yeah.
Like, physically here. And I'm like, how are people out there like still not doing shit? This man's got stage 4 fucking cancer, chemo, radiation.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like a goddamn push cushion, you know, for like testing and poking and prodding and showing up every day. I mean, I can't even fathom it. What is having cancer and being here now as a cancer survivor? Or like, what has that done for you as a man and just your perspective on life?
Don't sweat the small shit. I show up to every day just trying to be a better version today than I was yesterday.
That's all you can do.
I've lived that mantra since the day that I told my daughter, because that was the hardest point at the beginning, was getting over that hump of telling her. And
that must have been fucking devastating.
Oh, bro, that was devastating. And
and she was 10 at the time?
She was 10 at the time. Just, you know, she turned 11 this year. But 10-year-old daughter thinks of me like, just holds me up on a pedestal. Like, her and I are best of friends, and she just loves me to death. And telling her that her daddy's got cancer, and I had to explain all of that, what that meant and what I was going to get into. And like, we didn't know if I was going to lose my hair and get really sick. And like, you know, I mean, we all see cancer patients, and it's not a pretty sight a lot.
No.
You know, I've been able to kind of go through and actually kind of shine through this process and get healthier and look better and feel better. And that's because of some things that I'm doing. But that time was tough, and telling her was very difficult. And it changed me. So the perspective changed.
No 10-year-old like should ever have to hear that. I mean, nobody should have to hear that, let alone a 10-year-old. So you told her, and then from that moment forward, you just said, I'm going to be better tomorrow than I was today.
I just knew that I didn't have all the answers.
Wow.
I couldn't tell her what the path was going to look like. I just knew that if I was going to allow this disease to beat me and to let me feel like a cancer patient every day, then I was going to be a cancer patient every day, and I can continue that the rest of my life. So the mindset,
you'd be a cancer patient or a dude living his life that just happens to have cancer.
That happens. I'm not allowing the disease to define me. I'm defining myself and defining my future. It's kind of manifesting, and you know, all that stuff. It's power of the positive thought.
Right.
And when I said, okay, well, whatever is in front of me, whether I have to go to the hospital and spend the day there injecting poison in my body, or if I'm, you know, in the middle of whatever, I'm going to get it done.
So where were you like physically the day you were diagnosed with cancer? Like, you know, were you living healthy, not living healthy? Like, what did your body look like?
I thought that I was living healthy. You know, I'm 6'5", a big guy, and at the time I was 285 pounds.
Which on 6'5", it doesn't seem like
you could hide it well.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I could, and I hit it well in XX clothes and large stuff, and now that I look back at that guy, man, I was.
How much do you weigh right now?
I weigh about 218 right now.
So you're down like 70 pounds?
Almost 70. Yeah, about 65 pounds roughly, and I teeter right around 218 to 222 right now, depending. But
depending on how many burritos you had the night before.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to cut out the burritos in my life and get to a healthier diet, but I've had to eat a certain way to kind of put some weight back on. I was actually down to almost 210. I was at 211 out of my surgery. So like, it was a massive weight loss. But the good thing is that all this weight loss, I'd say majority of it, other than the stuff that they had to take out of my body, which is another conversation, I lost the weight the right way.
Yeah.
I did the things by changing my life and making little changes adding
good things.
Adding good things into my life, which when you add good things, you have to remove things. Right. So you remove the bad.
Well, the positives, you know, outweigh negatives. So you start adding things. You know, you started drinking, you know, this amazing water. You started like adding salads. You started adding shit, and you started subtracting cigarettes, alcohol.
Right.
I mean, all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I was drinking 2 bottles of wine a night, smoking a pack of Stogs, and eating everything whatever I want. Like if the combo plate was big and massive and gave me 5 different items, that's the one I wanted, and just to make sure that I could taste everything. But then I would just finish it
and just eat it all.
Yeah, I might as well. I mean, don't take leftovers.
Beyond gluttonous. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Dude, nowadays, and this is getting sidetracked, like when I order my plate, I split it with my wife, or I eat half, you know, and like I eat the next half. So I take that same caloric amount and I divide it up into 2. Yeah. And it's amazing that like how much waste we fucking have, how much bullshit we put in our body. You know, it's incredible.
Well, we are a product of what we put into our body, and that
Right.
was a reason. That's why I have cancer.
Yeah.
I paid thousands of dollars to have a genetics test, and it came back that it was not genetic. So
this was self-induced.
This is self-induced,
Really?
environment-induced. So, you know, we grew up in the 80s and 90s.
How much is it genetic? I've never known that. Like, is there like it's like 50% people that get cancer?
You know, I don't know that statistic, so I don't want to speak out of turn on that. But
No problem.
I know that that right now there's a rampant rate of people our age in their 40s, you know, and guys that grew up in a healthy way. It doesn't matter. Like, we're just getting all these diseases, and it's cancer in the GI tract. Like the amount of colorectal cancer in guys and girls our age, 40 years old, is astronomical.
That's
right now.
because of the processed foods and all the bullshit that we eat.
Well, look at when we grew up, bro. Like, it was the boom of we had fast food,
the
but
TV dinner.
the TV dinner got real famous. Hungry
Right.
Man got it, and of course, the bigger the better, because you're a
Right.
hungry man. The Big Macs and all that stuff, and all the fast foods, it went from like 2 in a city to 2 on every cross
corner,
street.
yeah.
And then also, dude, when in the fields that we're playing on, remember all those little planes in Southern California that were driving around spraying pesticides over everything just aimlessly? Yeah, that was also going into the foods and all that stuff, and they're still doing it. I mean, there's regulations now,
Right.
more tight, but
It's crazy. Like,
it's scary.
Yeah, no, it's scary.
It's scary.
And like I forget the stat, but like 80% or 85% of the food that's in grocery stores today just simply did not exist 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
It's like we fucking manufactured food.
And do you want to know what one of the main ingredients in all that stuff is? Sugar and corn.
Yeah, the corn. Huh?
Yeah. So, yeah.
I really like corn.
I like corn too. And it's been fed to us because it's very profitable for the American people. But yeah, I mean, it's in everything. Cornstarch, corn syrup.
Yeah,
corn
but that's
this,
a
corn
high fructose corn syrup, which is basically a different form of sugar.
Right.
I mean, sugar's the white fucking devil.
Right.
I mean,
you look at our ancestors, bro, and their DNA was filled with hemp. Our DNA right now, if you look at it, it's just filled with corn.
Wow.
And so we're a product of all this stuff and then you could just process the shit out of it.
So here's
anyway.
Gary on this journey, right? Finds out, fuck, I can't imagine. That's crazy. And so, by the way, people, I did not have this planned. I did not have this podcast planned at all.
No, we're off the cuff
and,
right now.
And I didn't even realize the date until you sat down. I saw Gary and I see this, like, it's ironic to say this, but this healthy version of Gary, this healthy version of a man who a year ago was not healthy, was not healthy. And you just battled cancer for the last 12 fucking months, and you're healthier now than you've been since probably college basketball.
I would say so.
Maybe your wedding.
Yeah, I mean, I feel great, but the thing is, like, I'm in the middle of a chemo battle right now too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I am sweeping this cancer out of my body because there's a chance that there's microscopic cells.
But there's no traceable cancer in your body.
No traceable cancer at this time.
Hallelujah,
Yeah.
man. That's fucking incredible.
Oh, it's amazing, man.
I mean, to think about that conversation we had, on December 22nd, 2018. And
I didn't know if this day was ever going to come, to be honest with you.
I didn't know either, man. I mean, obviously, I hoped for it, right? But I didn't even want to fucking think about it. I didn't want to put it out into the universe because it's just fucking horrible to think about. And I remember that night vividly. I was heavy because like we still didn't. My wife was having all these blood issues, and she's fine now, by the way, people. But like, and you were having this, and I was like, fuck, the 2017 was just a hard year for me. And like, that's how I ended my year. Like, good friend, business partner, brother gets cancer, wife's dealing with some bullshit. Fucking businesses are like, they're on fire from a revenue standpoint, but I'm making way less money. I mean, it was just like, couldn't be more of a bigger shitstorm. Granted, I was not in your shoes. I remember going to the Christmas party. My wife didn't even go. I think I had 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't know, cocktails. I just wanted to fucking disconnect and not feel.
Yeah.
Well, it came back like a tidal wave of emotions when I was on with you and Amy and fucking crying and just like, dude, it was crazy. And now to sit here today, like, to see the growth that you've had as a man, like, even in this fight of like cancer, like the way you've grown, like physically, emotionally, spiritually, the way your relationship with your wife has grown, the relationship with your daughter has grown, it's fucking incredible. Like, I mean, it's almost all worthy.
Well, I'll tell you, cancer comes in many different forms in life.
It does.
And I would say that the last 15 years has been cancer riddled in my life.
Yeah, well, maybe not physically, but
right. Whether it be my unhappiness with the way my career was going, whether it be my physical being, whether it be the lies that I was manifesting to my wife to make myself look better than I actually was.
Hide the truth of what was happening.
Exactly. So those things, those are layers and layers of disease, right? That we allow into our life, and then it defines us.
Yeah.
And when cancer hit my life, it exposed
the physical cancer.
When physical cancer came in and made me make the changes that I needed to make to get my life on straight, because I didn't know what it was going to take me in this whole path of where I am now. But at the beginning, I knew I had to stop smoking. So that shut down right away. I haven't touched a cigarette since the diagnosis.
Right.
And I had to cut down the drinking. I ended up cutting that drinking out completely.
Together, yeah.
Yeah. And so just making these changes just beget more and more and more. And now here I am, another, just on a whole other level.
Like, it's crazy. Like you cut the physical cancer got cut out of your body by the doctors, right? I mean, they went in there, sliced and diced you like that old game of Operator.
Yeah.
But like, you cut the other cancers out of your life. You cut the cancerous thinking. You cut the cancerous lying. You cut the cancerous eating habits. You cut the cancerous relationships. Like, you cut all that shit out. And because like you just didn't fight the cancer physically, you fought it emotionally and spiritually across the board. Like, fuck, that's why I believe you truly are cancer free and still talking to me right now.
Well, and it allows me to be who I really am and who God has made me to be. You know what I mean? Like, now that I've been able to shed these layers, I'm so more in tune with other stuff in my body and the way I feel, and spiritually and relationship wise, and I could look into somebody's eyes and not have to like hide anymore. Like, I am who I am, and you're going to accept me for who I am, or we could just choose not to be, have any relationship. That's fine.
Don't give a fuck. Like, when death is at your door, man, it really snaps everything into reality. And that's what, like, I keep telling people. I'm like, I did that podcast when you went in for your surgery. I'm like, fuck, don't wait. Like, I wish, like, what would you say to the 10-year version of yourself past, 10 years in the past, Gary looking at Gary 10 years ago? What the fuck would you say to that guy?
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what you're putting in your body, in your mind. Pay attention to who you're hanging out with. Like, I've always been really, really in tune with who I hang out with, who I associate with, and all that stuff, because I believe that, you are who you hang out with.
Right,
And
some of the five.
Right. And so, these little cliche things, you are who you hang out with, you are what you eat, all these things, it's nothing but the truth.
Right.
Like, it's not, they aren't sayings, because they just...
Would you just grab that motherfucker and shake him, or what?
Oh, dude, I'd slap him and be like, what the hell are you doing with your life? Like, I led my wife to be a smoker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she hated it, but I thought it was cool back in the day, and I smoked cigarettes, and, I'm going to smoke my cigarettes, and why don't you too? Now, you know what? She still smokes here and there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I've quit now for the last year, but she deals because of stress and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not going to judge her. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, I would shake that dude and be like, Gary, wake up, because, dude, like, what you're coming up against. The funny thing is, Nick, that I've only told a couple people about this, is that my whole life growing up, I thought I was going to die in my early 40s.
No way.
I swear. So I was always fearing this, and that's why I wanted to, try smoking weed, because I didn't want to die without trying that. That's why I wanted to, have sex. And I didn't want those little things. I always was thinking I'm going to die early, because my mom's parents both died in their early 50s.
Did they really?
So I was like, I would take after that side of the family a little bit. Obviously that's my genetics. This is my future. Well, the fact is, bro, I did die in my early 40s.
You did.
That old shell of me, the old version, that fuckhead that was not leading the right way.
That cancerous filled mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
Died.
Gone.
Yeah. And like,
gone.
So
my new birth date is September 11th, 2018.
Dude, September 11th, 2018.
Yes, sir.
Some things fucking have to die in order for it to live. I always tell everybody that. Like, I'm
a true testament of that, and we can dive so deep in this conversation going for hours, probably.
For sure. But so this is going to be a random question, but like, I already know your answer. Cancer a blessing or a curse?
It's been a blessing, to be honest with you. As much of a curse as it's been.
I know, as much hell as it's been.
As much hell as it's been, because it hasn't been a curse, because the curse is lifted. Like, there was never a curse.
It's been fucking hell.
It was hell. This year
sometimes you
has
got to
been
walk
tough.
through the fire, right?
Well, you have to, and what this really is, like these things that you talk about, Nick, about finding yourself in a pit, and you talk to your listeners about having, being in a position and wanting to see something better for yourself. You have to be there in that moment and feel those things that are so dark and painful to get to the other side. And I didn't realize the extent of what that meant until the disease that I got affected me so much.
It's fucking
and it just
crazy.
started, like I said, man, just started shedding layers and layers and layers. And all of a sudden here I am, and I feel so, I looked back, and there was a defining moment, and it was just recently, like just a few months ago before surgery. And I look back, I'm like, man, what a different dude I am. Like, I'm leading in a different way. I'm talking a different
100%.
language.
I mean, you've attracted like tens of thousands of people to your message. You could have, like, dude, no one would have ever fucking blamed you if you would have just stayed in bed, like felt sorry for yourself, had everybody wait on you, numb yourself out with pain fucking pills and, whatever. And just like kind of waited for death to come and take you away, or praying for a fucking miracle. But you didn't. Like, you took the doctor's advice, then you went all in on yourself, like from a nutritional standpoint, from a mental well-being standpoint, from a relationship standpoint. And like, I feel it's like all of those things, I'm no fucking doctor, like only accelerated the getting rid of the cancer in your body and in your mind and your soul.
Well, look at what Garrett J. White made, which is the core four, the body, being, balance, and business, right? Those things are so relevant. I mean, they're so important to have those things in tune, because once you can figure out that formula and get a daily process to make you stay in that lane and make sure that you got a group of people around you that it will hold you accountable, dude, there's nothing that you can't do. And people always say, like, oh yeah, there's nothing you can't do. Well, I've always been that guy too, like looking from the outside, looking at, like, I've always looked at you as a successful man and always respected you. There's never really been a jealous part of it, because I'm really happy for you, because I'm a friend at first, and I look, but there's a lot of people that look at people's success and, oh, I wish they had that, they got lucky, they're right position. No, it's because they're putting in the work and they're doing it.
You've seen the fucking, like, firsthand, like what I go through on a day-to-day
grind, dude. I've seen you from before, almost 20 years ago, and then especially like a firsthand look right here with you for the last year. And I see what this does in a man's life, and there is no doubt in my mind that it works. Because I've done it. I've watched you do it. I see the whole brotherhood excelling and doing amazing things. Like, all you got to do is go all in. That's the problem, is like, people want to say, okay, yeah, that's cool, but they'll put their foot in the water and they'll be like, I want to test that first. And then I want to watch. Well, I think we've watched long enough, dude. How many episodes have you done now?
I think this one will be like 120 or something like that. And that's what I was just saying. Is just get up and fucking do shit.
Just go.
Get up, like you getting up and doing shit. You getting up and getting shit done, and practicing the core four and whatever fashion served you. Like, kept you fucking going, kept you in the game, kept you like motivated, and it was anchored to your why, which is your family, Amy and Aubrey, and like that's like fucking kept your ass moving. Like, you came in here, like, people don't know that, like, you had what is it called, neuropathy, so where he can't like feel his feet, and he rear-ended a fucking car because he didn't realize his foot wasn't on the brake. And you did that, and you would come, and like, he sits here now, like, and he doesn't have a fucking colon. Like, they removed his entire colon.
I don't have a butthole either. It's on my stomach.
We call it your belly butthole.
Yeah.
He's got a little belly butthole.
My little homie, the Stomey.
Homie, the Stomey. Stomey the clown. And we sit here and we laugh because it farts, like, just like randomly, and like, literally, like, this guy's been through shit. Like, the fucking colostomy bag blew up in the bathroom the other day, and he's like calling me. He's like, "Can you come in here?
Can you bring me a new bag?"
And like we laugh about it, but like, it's like, people, you don't have to fucking go through this.
You don't. Please
you don't have to put yourself, like, when I did the last episode on you, I'm like let fucking Gary, like, let him be the one. Like, he's literally trying to die on the sword for you guys, to tell his story. He's sharing it with you. He's out there being vulnerable, so you don't have to fucking do it. So let's change gears for 1 second. Let's talk about higherpower.net. So We still got the Make Eating Fun thing going, but it didn't get to where you and I wanted it to be in this year. Like
In this year,
understandably so.
Yeah.
We did make a lot of progress, but
we're still going in a
we're
good
still
direction,
going.
yes.
But like, so then you kind of created this whole like his last name is Heyer, Heyer, but then you're a very like deeply religious man, believe in God, Jesus Christ. So like you kind of took it to this next level, like the higher power. Like talk about higher power and what that is.
Started out just as a little hashtag thing at the beginning of my fight to be able to, get people on
To
board
rally
and
around.
rally around. Like, I made some hashtag higher power hats to raise some money, and it just stuck. And higher power it makes sense for what I'm going through. Like I give all glory to God for where I'm at in life and for beating this disease and for everything that's happened. But now I want to change the thing from higher power being me to higher power being a movement,
Right.
Being a movement of
Finding your own
awareness,
higher power,
finding your own higher power, whether if it's Jesus Christ or whatever it is, but finding something that's greater than where you're at right now and strive for it and go for it. And it's all about community, because like you said, pain shares, pain divided. I want to build a community around this and give people a safe place to be able to learn about other ways to treat your body.
Right.
Like I've gone all in with CBD and alkaline water, and not just specific stuff, not just alkaline water, Kangen water.
Right.
The stuff is amazing.
How do you spell that?
Kangen. And on my website, I have tutorials and demonstrations.
Which is higherpower.net. So that's HEYER power.net. You can go find this. So what Gary's done is he went all in on these alternative things, like, hey, yes, let me use the traditional forms of medicine and chemo and all this kind of stuff. But he's like, there's got to be a fucking better way. I remember you took those pain pills for a couple of days and you're like, fuck this, I can't do this. And so through CBD and full spectrum THC,
everything.
He and this water. I mean, I've drank this water. It's insane. The energy levels you have. Like, remember the first couple of days, I was like shitting myself.
Yeah, dude, well, you detox.
A
on
detox.
this stuff.
Yeah, it was like getting all the toxins out of it. So, talk a little bit about like the water, because I think people are not that well educated on water.
Well, yeah, that conversation could go another couple hours too, but I'll just give you my testimony
give me
to it.
the Reader's Digest.
So this water was introduced to me early on in my fight, and it's alkaline water.
Yeah, someone found out you had cancer and like, dude, you got to be drinking this right away.
One of my first videos that I put out there, this guy, my buddy Al from high school, I haven't talked to him in years. He's like, hey Gary, I need to bring you some water. I want you drinking this stuff. I'm not even gonna like talk to you about the benefits of it. It's amazing. So he brought it to me, and he was bringing it for 4 months. And
did you notice a difference right away?
Well, I didn't really notice it. I did. I mean, I had energy and all that stuff.
But also,
and
you also had chemo running.
But I also
body.
had chemo going on. I had all these other things. Like I started really treating myself with cannabis in general, not just CBD, but THC as well. Because
Mary Jane.
But so I had all these things going on.
Yeah.
But about 4 months into it was the end of my first round of chemo, which was 4 months long. And I was going into radiation. At that time, like chemo intensifies every round that you have. Like, I'm still feeling effects today. You said neuropathy.
Yeah.
I'm still feeling the neuropathy like on fire.
I remember when you first started, it was like, oh, this is no big deal. And I'm like, oh, it's coming. And then all of a sudden it was like, wham. I'm in for years of this. Like It's not going away. My doctor already told me that it's probably one of the worst neuropathy cases he's seen in a long time. So that is what it is. I deal with a lot of aches and pains. I just choose not to deal with it because I don't live with cancer. I'm not going to let it define me. So back to the water. He was bringing it to me for 4 months, and at that time, like my energy levels started tanking because I didn't know it. But he stopped bringing me this water because his life got busy, and then I was starting to just drink like Essentia, Smart Water, Fiji, the ones we think are
the ones that we think are great because we're paying $3 a bottle in the store, and everybody's buying them, and that's great because they say that they're pH balanced at 9.5, and a lot of them are, but a lot of them aren't either, and it's also what is in the water that's creating that pH balance, which is a whole other subject we'll talk another time. But anyway, a friend of mine brought Kangen water back into my life about a month after it was taken out. And he started showing me some of the benefits of it, but he gave me a gallon of water one day. He came here to this office and he gave me a bottle of water and he said, call me tomorrow and I want to see how you feel. And I'll tell you, in 24 hours, when I had that gallon of water in me, all my energy came back.
I remember that.
I went through a month of just plummeting.
Yeah.
And I thought that was my life. I thought that's what I was dealing with. I told you many times, like, bro, I'm dragging. Like, I don't know.
You had to leave here at 2, 3 in the afternoon. Yeah.
I was just tired and just like run down, and I'd go home and just sleep and just like not have anything to connect with my wife and my daughter. And I thought, well, there it is. Now this is my cancer battle.
Yeah.
And then Kangen, the only thing that changed as I'm going downwards, got reinduced back in my life, and it brought all my energy back. And I'm sitting here right now, a year into this, I'm still doing another round of chemo. I started chemo a month after my surgery.
That's right. Which was in September.
Yeah. So like my life has changed drastically, and I should be at home. You know, I'm supposed to be on disability for 6 months. Well, all that got denied because I'm an entrepreneur and paid into that for 20 years, but I don't get any benefit.
Yeah, we can go on a whole nother episode of that.
So anyway, that's the Kangen water story. So ever since that day, I got Kangen. I got the machine for my home. This water is made in your home. You don't have to worry about it being bottled and all that. It's fresh. It's fantastic. It's loaded with antioxidants.
Right.
And it's just fantastic. So on my website, I have some demonstrations to talk about it. And then I also have ways to contact me directly, and we could have a conversation. These things are amazing. They're medical grade devices made in Japan. It's a 44-year-old company. Like it's established and amazing. It's changing lives right now.
Yeah, no, and I've seen it. I've seen it change your lives. I remember, I mean, I haven't invested in the machine yet. I'm going to, but even when you're bringing me the gallons and gallons of water, like I noticed a difference. And so that's what people do. Like some people just stop and this is my lot in life. I have cancer, and what I do is I go get chemo, I take my pain pills, I fucking sleep, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Or you can say, fuck that. Like, I'm not letting this shit hold me down. I'm not letting it define me. I'm going to, yes, take the doctor's advice, but I'm going to like be my own doctor. I'm going to be my own mind doctor. I'm going to be my own body doctor, because I can control what I put in my mind. I can control what I put in my body. I can control how I treat my wife. I can control whether or not I work out. And people just don't go beyond it. They accept their fucking lot in life, their cancerous life, not maybe physically, but emotionally and spiritually. It's like, fuck, dude. Just wake up, do something fucking different, add something positive to your body. Like, treat yourself, you know?
Exactly.
It's crazy.
The problem is that there's so many people that have all those layers of destruction that they've allowed in their life that they're too afraid to start peeling them off.
Yeah.
And I just want you guys to know that once you do, it's so freeing.
It's so freeing.
It's so unbelievable.
I mean, how liberating was it just to talk about your cancer battle and to be vulnerable and to put it out there, like, I mean, and not hide it, you know?
It's been amazing. I mean, it's been a very difficult roller coaster because it's been very hard to talk about for many months. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you and I've had the journey that I've had, like, I just want my story to resonate with other people. You don't have to have the physical cancer, this medical diagnosis of cancer to have cancer in your life.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody's got it, whether it's in relationships or.
I get up every day and do the core 4 because my fucking mind is filled with stupid cancer. Like, I'm my own worst enemy, and I talk shit to myself and I talk down to myself, and I'm like, God damn it. Like, I know I'm a good person, so I get up every day and I fucking put myself into power. I love on my wife. I figure out what I'm going to do in my business, and I treat myself every fucking day.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed I don't have the physical cancer, but, you know, like, we all have this emotional, mental cancer.
Well, let me add to that, because that is perfect. and you're right. You have to have that mindset, because personally you're getting after it every single day.
Yeah.
But like what you're building and what you're part of, this whole network, you have to have people that can remind you, that can tell you, because just like you said, how hard it is for you, a man, a leader, a guy that's leading a freaking movement right now, and men that are relying on him and families that are relying on him are saying that it's difficult.
Right.
It's difficult for you to muster up the strength. But it is people that in your network that can reach out to you.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I felt compelled to just send you a note this morning, telling you I love you and I'm proud of you, and like, keep it up, because you're inspiring a lot of people. Like, that's the truth. And so the power of association is not just pain shared, pain divided, but it's also like
success shared is success amplified.
There you go. That's the one I was. So it's got it just like cancer has its gift and its curse, right? Yeah. So does all this. Life is that way.
So listen, people, if you're out there and you have like physical cancer, actually, if you have any physical ailment, go to higherpower.net, HEYER power.net, higherpower.net. Look at Gary's videos. I don't care if you're into CBD or you're not into CBD. Like, go get educated. Like, at least know what your options are for treating pain, treating aches, treating cancer, treating all this stuff. And then also, like, the Kangen water, man. It's fucking incredible. It's changing lives. Some of the the wealthiest celebrities in the world, the smartest people in the world already have this water, are drinking this water because they're in the know. And I think like part of eliminating cancer from your life is like just understanding like the facts about things and what you are putting in your body, what you're not putting in your body, what you're putting in your mind. So I would head over to higherpower.net, HEYER power.net. You can talk to Gary directly. You can follow him on Instagram at Higher Power. You can follow him on Facebook at Higher Power.
Yeah.
Like he puts out shit every day. I follow it. I watch his stories. I mean, how many people are following you now?
Going on almost 11,000. So we're approaching the 11,000 mark.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's good, man. I just want to be here and be a resource. So like you
man.
said, that
like
website is
your story. It inspires thousands.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I hope to continue that. That's what I want to make my life my mission, because
Well,
I know that I've got another 40 years here.
I think you're on your way, man.
Yeah, we're gonna do some amazing
So, dude,
things.
I'm fucking proud of you, man, and you've been an inspiration for me just as much as you feel like I've been an inspiration for you. And watching you go through this has been transformative in my life and how I approach things, and just fucking mere fact that you could show up every fucking day shows me that anybody, no matter what their circumstances, can show up in their life if they choose to.
There you go, brother.
What do you have closing thoughts for the next 90 Nation here?
You guys, what you're part of is very special. And I want you guys to understand something, that the power is within you to make changes. And all you have to do is just make a clear decision of what you want and go. And make sure that your why, like that why, your family, if you don't have a family, like if you don't have a wife and kids, what is it that wakes you up every day? And make that a driving force every single day. But then on top of all that, and having that control of being able to do big things for yourself, make sure you're part of something and part of a network that can keep you focused, because there's too much distractions. Our life is filled with distractions. Every time we pick up this phone, I've got probably 100 messages. You probably got 100 messages. This is a complete distraction. It gets us unrailed, because there's probably something on here that's going to take us away from our mission, like people, naysayers, the trolls,
100%.
Those type of people.
Oh God!
Like there's going to be people that are going
They
to
are
question,
cancer,
because growth is uncomfortable.
Yes.
But when you're growing, it's going to make other people uncomfortable for a little while, especially the close ones to you, because they don't know what to think, because they're used to seeing a certain
the old
you.
version of you.
Yeah.
And they're
but
comfortable
once
with
they
that.
start seeing that progress,
Right.
it's amazing, bro. Like it's
100%,
transformational. So
Well, people, eliminate the cancer in your life, whether it be obviously the physical one. Go to a fucking doctor. Like, I've been putting it off. I'm going, like, that's part of my Q1 stuff, is just seeing all my numbers. But, like, find out what the cancer is in your life. The emotional, the physical, the relational, like, whatever cancer you have, fucking go to work. Cut that shit out every single day. And you can start by doing the core fucking 4. Like, you can start and put yourself in power every single day. Remove the cancer from your mind. Remove the cancer from your body. Remove the cancer from your soul. And just go to fucking work. So don't take my word. Take a true warrior, a cancer fucking survivor, a cancer warrior, and a guy who's on fire for life. Higherpower.net. So until next time, cut out the fucking cancer and own the next 90. We're out.